being 5 o'clock, I will welcome everybody to the February 18th, 2025 meeting of the Committee on City Services. I'm Councilor Stan Moulton, and I will be presiding. And this meeting is being audio and video recorded. Laura, would you call the roll, please?
Sure. Councilor Moulton.
Here?
Councilor Labarge.
Here.
Councilor Dobbs.
Here.
And Councilor Rothenberg.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, is there anybody here who would like to make a public comment? I see one other person.
Yeah, I think we have a call in.
I see a call-in user,
Yeah.
but unless that person indicates that he or she wants to comment, I will assume we don't have any public comment. We have minutes of our last meeting on February 3rd.
Move
Is
to
there-
approve.
Okay, motion to approve made by Councilor Labarge,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councilor Dobbs. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the minutes? If not, Laura, roll call on the minutes, please.
Councilor Moulton.
Yes.
Councilor Labarge.
Yes.
Councilor Dobbs.
Yes.
And Councilor Rothenberg.
Yes.
Okay, minutes of February 3rd meeting of the City Services Committee are approved unanimously. That brings us to the one appointment that we have on our agenda today that was referred by the City Council on January 16th. It is the appointment of Patricia Healy to fill a vacancy on the Northampton Housing Authority. Councilor Labarge, do you have a report to deliver about Ms. Healy?
Oh, yes, I had a lengthy talk with Patricia Healy. Anyways, I asked her the questions, what brought you to Northampton? And she said she was originally from East Hartford, Connecticut, and also lived in Central Mass and Boston. I grew to love Western Mass when I attended UMass and studied nursing and trained in area hospitals. My husband Joe and I were living in Boston when we decided to move back to the Northampton area to have our family and raise our children. We bought our first home in Florence in 1990. We have 3 adult daughters who graduated for the Northampton Public Schools. Joe grew up in Holyoke, and his family lived in Holyoke and Northampton. We were drawn to Northampton to be closer to family. I also asked Patricia, what do you know about the Northampton Housing Authority? Which is a very important question, which you all counselors know. She said, I worked for 3 years as a nurse case manager at the Cooley-Dixon Hospital, retiring 2 years ago. I collaborated with the hospital social work department to make discharge plans for patients and affordable housing available, and always was a significant need in our community. We often interfaced with the housing authority on behalf of patients, and I had good interactions with the staff. Over the years, I have known residents, and I am aware of issues related to living in publicly managed housing. I have read the Department of Housing and Community Development regulations, responsibilities of the Board of Local Housing Authorities as outlined in the Massachusetts General Laws, some history of public housing in the United States and Massachusetts, and general knowledge as a resident of Northampton. I also asked Patricia Healy, what interests you in an appointment to the Housing Authority? Most of my experience in organizations have been in nursing, labor, and healthcare activism. I know that people cannot achieve optimal health without safe, good quality, and affordable housing. I would also like to be actively engaged in civic responsibilities as a Northampton citizen and have been following housing and the Housing Authority and the Housing Partnership. They are unfilled seats in this organization, and I would like to volunteer my time and commitment to the city. I asked Patricia, is there a particular issue you are interested in working on? She stated, I am concerned about the security issues brought forth by residents and would like to focus on this area. I am also interested in building tenant management relationships as the individual tenant groups organize around issues that are important to them. And I thought that was a very critical statement as a counselor. Her background, she worked as a registered nurse at Boston City Hospital, a public health care system now closed. Also briefly in Alta Verapaz, Guatemala, with a nurse midwife, and had a 40-year career in hospital and ICU nursing. Worked inpatient addictions and also at Coolidge Hospital as a case manager in the ER. I have served in officer and board roles in the Massachusetts Nurses Association, a statewide labor union. I understand the fiduciary responsibilities of board members, and I have decades of experience lobbying and advocating at the State House on nursing and healthcare issues. I currently sit on the board of MassCare, the Massachusetts campaign for single-payer healthcare. I also served on the Northampton Charter Commission and the Northampton Council on Aging. I'm a resident of Northampton, own a home with my husband, and I live in Florence in Ward 6. So that's it. So I don't know if that caller in user is Patty Healy or not, if she wanted to talk or whatever, and I don't see her here.
The call-in user has disappeared. So I don't know, Council Labarge, if that
Okay.
was, did
All right.
you have an indication from Patty Healy that she was going to attend and
No,
answer?
We
No,
talked
okay.
with her about it, but it really depended on
Mhm.
her schedule. She's really
Okay.
busy.
Yep. Okay, well, I don't see anybody else at this point, so
Okay,
thank,
so I don't know if any of the counselors want to ask me any questions. They are very welcome to do that. But hearing what she is saying and her advocacy, how she wants to work with the housing authority residents. She's been watching it. I've been watching the board members, very critical here. And that's when I suggested to the board of having Chief Cartledge get involved, and he has been with
mhm.
the problems going on at Walter Salvo's. So anyways, I would like to make a positive recommendation for Patricia Healy to be appointed on the Northampton Housing Authority to the full city council.
Okay, so I'm going to come to you, Council Rothberg. Is there a second for the recommendation made by Council Labarge?
Yes, I'll second that motion.
Okay, so a motion made by Council Labarge for a positive recommendation on Patricia Healy, seconded by Councilor Dubs. Yes, Councilor Rothenberg.
Hi, I'm just wondering, was this related to the housing partnerships recommendation? Didn't they make a recommendation for someone to fill this vacancy recently? Does anyone know?
Yes, I can speak to that, Councilor Rothenberg.
Okay.
There are currently 3 vacancies on the Housing Authority. This is the one that Marilyn Richards had occupied. She has left the Housing Authority because she no longer lives in Northampton. The Housing Partnership seat that had been held by Edgardo Consul has been vacated because he is no longer a member of the Housing Partnership. That replacement, Benjamin,
Oh, sorry.
Benjamin
Wood.
Benjamin Wood, Ben Wood, will be on the agenda at Thursday's council meeting for referral to city services. So no, this is not the housing partnership seat.
Thanks. And then my only other question was whether she has ever lived in public housing.
Has she what?
Has
the
ever
question-
lived in public housing.
Do you know the answer to that, Council Labarge?
I couldn't pick her up. She quit.
The question is whether Patricia Healy had ever lived in public housing.
I can't answer to that.
You don't know. Okay.
In Boston area, no. I don't
Okay.
know.
I will add to Council Labarge's report that, as was mentioned, Patricia Healy served on the Charter Review Committee in 2019 that I chaired. And I want to just speak to her participation in that group over the course of a couple of dozen meetings. I found her to be extremely well prepared to participate as one of 9 members of the Charter Review Committee. She expressed herself extremely well. She was very, I would describe her as a full and careful participant in that process. And I found her to be, an excellent addition to a group that of people who many of us did not know each other. So it was an interesting process to sort of come together, decide on the objectives that we were going to focus on over that year review of the charter, and then assign tasks. And Patty Healy was a very pleasant and productive member of the Charter Review Commission. So I have had that experience working with her as part of a team, and I recommend her highly as well.
And can I ask you a question, Stan?
Yes.
She can get right on to the website and take a look way back. How many years has it been now with the Charter Commission? How many meetings you had? Tremendous amount of meetings on that Charter Commission.
Yeah.
Tons of them.
Yeah. So yes, she's a hard worker, and she she brings, as Council Labarge highlighted, she brings a wealth of experience both in the public health field as well as having served on various boards and leadership positions for the union. So she's got I think, a very broad background, and will certainly add to the Housing Authority.
Right. And even with the senior center, she was on that also, you know?
Yeah.
So-
She was on Council on Aging. Yeah.
Right, and even she stated about how she was also there at the Cooley Dick. It was her job to work with the doctors, and she worked with several housing authority residents and placed them with the care that they should need and the help.
Yeah, well, I think that you mentioned several things that she has an interest in working on around security issues, for example. So I think she's very knowledgeable.
Yep, I do too.
Any other questions or discussion about a positive recommendation for Patricia Healy? If none, then Laura, roll call please on a positive recommendation.
Counselor Labarge,
Yes,
Counselor Dobbs,
Yes.
Counselor Rothenberg,
No.
and Counselor Moulton.
Yes. So that passes 3 yes votes, 1 no vote, and that will go to the City Council on Thursday. I know there's already a placeholder item on the agenda pending this recommendation.
Right.
Okay, so is there any new business? If not, our next regular meeting will be Monday, March 3rd. There will be recommendations, there will be referrals of reappointments that will come to us for the March 3rd meeting. Yes, Councilor Rothenberg.
Yes, I just had a question. I do have an item of potentially new business, but I'm not sure how they should be introduced here. I'm just wondering, and I'd like to have further consultation with Counselor Debs, but seeing that one of our functions is for department oversight, I'm wondering if we can make use of our time on this subcommittee to do some research into the issue of staffing at the DPW.
Uh, well, what particular questions or issues do you want to
Well, I'm
explore?
concerned about the wages. I'm concerned that they're too low to attract people to fill the vacancies. And so
That
I'd like to see what kind of an impact that is having on operations. I'd like to see in more detail how the staffing is being used and what is needed, sort of an operational audit, and do some comparisons to neighboring areas that are able to attract people and compare those.
I would say that the question about wages is one that Director LaScalia has cited in the past, that it's difficult for a municipality to compete with the private sector.
Mhm.
I you know, if you're asking for, so that is fact, and of course those wages are bargained, are negotiated with the various unions that represent DPW employees.
I'm
Um,
just wondering how we introduce new business here and sort of what the protocol would be. I wasn't prepared to debate anything about it today.
Hmm.
well, I'm reacting to your question about uh, wages for DPW workers and the ability to attract staff. We have a problem. Is that something for this committee to consider? I'm not sure. I think you could take that issue to Council President Jarrett and ask him for his opinion about it. Council Labarge?
Yeah. At first, I couldn't hear some of the things that Corbally was saying, but I'm hearing now about the wages for DPW. And I know as a counselor, because of what is happening, and not just here in Northampton, I have another assistant director from DPW. I think I can't remember, she said Chicopee or somewhere, the same problem. They just could not get staff, period. A hard time, and many of them are. And Donna did tell me that the wages were a problem because they have to go by what the state is telling them of what their wages have to be step by step. So I don't know, I think you're right. I mean, she's questioning something here and it's a problem. And people see the shortness of staff going on, the plowing, and it's all seasonal. We went from what, 20 positions? And then we went to 21 or 22, then 30. And that she was able to start getting some people back. But, we have been in a crisis with DPW. Some have just quit, some have retired. It's been a problem. And they're doing the best that they can there. And I can see where she's talking about the wages for DPW in that. So I think you're right. I think, Corbally, you really should talk with Alex Jarrett. Maybe she could come to City Council with a presentation. That's my thoughts. I don't know how you feel about
Yep.
that, Counselor.
I just
Yeah,
want to let you know I'm
I
having a
agree.
technical problem. I'm having a technical problem and I'm losing my connection because I had to carpool home because of the roads. I can't walk home today. So I think I'm going to lose you right now. So I'm sorry I won't
Okay.
be here for the rest
Okay,
of this
so
conversation.
we're
I'll have to record.
Councilor Rothenberg, we're suggesting that you take that idea to Council President Jarrett and ask him what he would recommend for a forum for that discussion. Okay. Uh, Okay, so not hearing any other new business, I think a motion to adjourn is in order.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion made by Counselor Dubs,
And I'll second that.
seconded by Counselor Labarge. Roll call, please, Laura, on adjournment.
Okay, Counselor Dobbs,
Yes.
Counselor Rothenberg. Not sure if she's,
Be there.
looks like
Yes.
she- yes, okay. Counselor Moulton
Yes,
and Counselor Labarge.
Yes.
that motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned at 5:21. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
And
you,
we'll
Stan.
Thank you.
Thank you.
we'll see you
Chairman. Thank
we'll see you
Laura.
Thursday night. Bye-bye. Good night.
Bye-bye.